One of the biggest inventions of our generation and probably human history is that of the internet. No one can argue that today the most influential applications used is that of social media. It can go from starting a relationship to starting a war. But are these just figments and illusions, or does social media actually have the ability to change human relationship? We're going to need to start by defining some terms. First off, what is social media and what is a relationship? Well, social media is defined by Merriam-Webster as websites and computed applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. But that is definitely not how we interpret it. When we think of social media, we think of applications like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, Snapchat, Tumblr, etc. Applications that have a broadness to how we use it and in turn give us more to communicate with. But if we are going off definition, that adds a lot of things that are considered social media. Applications like eHarmony, Steam, eBay, Canvas, and even PayPal. All of these applications have the ability for communication and sharing of content, or have some form of networking, but not exactly what we would casually use as a template for social media. Now, relationship is also in that boat. We like to view it in just a few ways and not what it actually glosses over. When you think of a relationship, you tend to think about, a significant other, close friends, family members, people that you care about, but that's not just what a relationship is. Relationship, simply put, is the correlation or connection that you have with an object or a person. In this sense, you technically have a relationship with everyone you interact with. Now, this does not mean you technically have to marry the barista you always run into at Scooters, but this does mean that relationships, good or bad, small or significant, are valid, and that makes things incredibly easier for this topic. Can social media affect any kind of these relationships? Well, the short answer is yes, but the long answer is what I'm going to try to touch on in this video because it's incredibly complicated. It can vary between who you interact with and who you are as an individual. First off, let's talk about people that you technically have a relationship with, but don't really consider them to be important or relevant. We can call these people invisibles, or soldier boys, or we can just stick with them being called invisibles. Now, once again, these are people that you interact with but aren't really socially or mentally attached to. To make it easier to picture, imagine you got into a fight with a random unknown person on Twitter over Beyonce's Lemonade album. Now, we all know it's amazing and she's a god among mortals who deserves better in this world, but this heartless and soulless SOB thinks she ain't and deserved to get cheated on by Jay-Z. Now, we can all agree that this person is a monster, but you would in that situation have a relationship with this invisible. This unknown sack of sadness does have a way to toy with your emotion, gets you riled up and agitated. Hell, this is just a hypothetical and I want to start a riot for my queen bee. But if you are a person that doesn't get agitated easily and didn't care nor respond to what this person said about the queen herself, then this invisible doesn't have the capability to really affect you that much, and in some ways can't really form a communication because it's not reciprocating. So in that case, you technically wouldn't have a relationship with this person, so once again, it's complicated. But let's just move on before I start blasting partition through my subs and wake up my entire building again. Now, what about family? This one I shouldn't have to delve into that much. You're on Facebook and your mom tags you in something that makes you cringe so hard that you fold into yourself and cause a spatial collapse. In reality, though, social media and family has always been the targeted use. You want to stay in touch with your brother who is stationed overseas, get that man a Facebook and a Skype. But in most cases, the blend of family and social media is good, but some negative outliers exist. According to Gizmodo, 3% of adults in a study they were conducting admitted they had been in a physical altercation with a family member over something that happened on Facebook. I'll just let that settle in the air. Now, what about friends? Well, this one is decently complicated and depends entirely on the situation, platform, character, etc. Now, in most parts, social media does well with friends, keeping them up to date, and in some cases creating friendships entirely. I can't tell you how many real-life friends I have and actively hang out with that started out with me just inviting them to my Xbox Live party or messaging them on Steam or Twitter. In many cases, friendships are created through social media, but in a lot of other cases, they have been destroyed as well. How many of you have actually lost a friend because of stuff they have said or done or posted on social media? I can't see any of you, but I'm assuming many hands are up right now. But it is a balancing act. We actually conducted a survey on people's opinions on social media and its effects on relationships, and we got an absorbent amount of good information, but also this great quote from Akari Yumi, who said, "In my opinion, I think social media is a double-edged sword, and truthfully there's no better way to describe it in my mind. It can save or slaughter a relationship, in a figurative way, by the way." Finally, let's talk about the go-to connection when someone says relationship. Intimate relationships. Oh yeah, things are getting hot. I'm bringing out the candles. Now, it is no surprise that social media can and will influence people who are together. Sometimes it brings them together and sometimes it pulls them apart. Applications like Match.com, eHarmony, Tinder, Grindr, and a plethora of others open a door for people to, even if briefly, be in an intimate relationship. But if you've ever been in a relationship recently, then you know that social media can and always will be a bane, setting seeds of distrust in a relationship. Maybe someone's been Snapchatting or DMing your boy often, or you've been seeing way too many comment notifications on your girl's Instagram. Regardless, fights eventually always ensue in this generation from social media, but that does not mean that complete end of relationship. Unfortunately, though, that does happen sometimes, as portrayed in this video in Frank Ocean's Blonde album titled Facebook Story.
No, I was just telling that I got this girl before, and I was together since 3 years, and I was not even cheating her or what, and Facebook arrived, and she wanted me to accept her on Facebook, and I don't want it because I was like in front of her, and she told me like accept me on Facebook. This was virtual, means no sense. So I said, I'm in front of you. I don't need to accept you on Facebook. She started to be crazy. She thought that because I didn't accept her, she thought I was cheating. She told me like it's over. I can't believe you. I said, come on, you're crazy. So like I'm in front of you. I'm every day here in your house. But it means like it's jealousy, pure jealousy, for nothing. You know, virtual thing.
To summarize this entire video, social media does have the ability to impact and shape any number of any kind of relationship you find yourself in, but most importantly is how you choose to handle yourself in those situations. Making things a big deal, from arguing with an unknown individual on Twitter to fistfighting your Aunt Pat because of her Make America Great Again post, will not make anything better for you or anybody else involved. Take what you know and consider everyone's feelings and any possible outcome when you decide to do anything online. That's really all I got for right now. Now go out there and try as hard as possible to keep your Beyonce opinions to yourself.